Wie bist du?
Wie geht's? Sehr gut. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Here, coming down into Penns Creek. So, thought I should open this up here by saying, when I first got into flintlocks, I was working at Fayette Trailers here in Central Juniata County, and the guy I worked with, his name is Josh Martin, and we got to talking about flintlocks because it was my interest, and he says, yeah, my uncle builds flintlocks, that's what he does, Alan Martin, and of course I didn't know anything at this point. I came to talk to him at the Artisan Show, and I made the connection with him because I worked with his nephew, Josh. The more you talk to the guy, you realize that he's super knowledgeable in knowing what originals, you know, look like and how to recreate an original. Super nice guy. He's just an exceptional builder. I mean, very good builder. Very well known. And, you know, between Sam and Rick, and you know, guys like them that build on the side for fun, and then you got Alan. I mean, I really cannot explain how fortunate I am to and blessed to have people surrounding me in my area that build guns. I mean, really, like, I could be in like Nevada and have nobody around, and you're doing it all through the internet and talking to people, but like to be able to meet people and hands-on, I mean, that's part of the reason I love doing these interviews is, you know, it's relationships. It doesn't matter what you're doing. These relationships and the people you meet along the way, it's awesome. Whether it's rendezvous, meeting Bob Hoyt there, you know, the other day or a couple months back, and then interviewing him there a couple weeks ago. It's just super blessed with the amount of people and the wealth of knowledge, and that's why I'm wanting to do these, you know, for my own benefit, but also to share with you guys, because it's awesome to be able to hear their stories, you know. This is something, you know, for all the time, you'd only know people around you, but we have the internet now. I mean, you could be over in Asia somewhere and learning and know what Alan Martin's about, or Sam Schaefer, or Bobby Hoyt, you know. So, thought I'd open up with this, and hope you guys enjoy this interview. Alan's a great guy. I think we're gonna have a good time. We both have similar interests. We love flintlocks and bluegrass, so we both got Dutch backgrounds, so it's gonna be a good time. We'll see you over at his place. Wie bist du?
Wie geht's? Sehr gut. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Is this what you do? Just relax?
Mm-hmm. This is where I work, under the shade tree.
Catalpa.
That's a catalpa. My bean tree, which I planted with a little sapling, now it's a big bastard and dirty. Yeah. Okay.
So this is where it happens, is in the house.
This is actually, we moved here in 1996, so that's what, 26 years ago. Well, it will be in October, I think. My daughter Tori was 3 months old. She's gonna have a baby in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Cool.
So anyway, we moved here, and there was not even a patio here. There was not even a driveway here. I put all this in. I did a lot of work. You know, redid the whole house. Still not done. And when you're a full-time gun maker, it's really hard to dedicate for projects. You gotta keep building guns, and when I quit building guns, then the income quits. You know, that's the worst part about. The worst thing about gun making is the finances part.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to make a living. I charge the snot out of people anymore, but I or at least I think I do. But when you have over a 40 to 50 gun backlog,
and people are wanting them, is it overcharging?
Prices are not high enough yet, maybe, and I feel like I'm robbing people. But then I like to stay within a happy medium of You know, sort of like driving a car down the interstate. You don't want to be the idiot going 98 mile an hour, but you don't want to be the guy holding everybody up either. So you go with the flow.
Yep.
And now with the economy the way it is, it's really hard to, am I underpricing myself for what's coming? I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
Yeah.
If I can make the bank, you know, and have enough to left over for some food at the end of the week,
Yeah.
we'll be okay. I've been doing this now full time for almost 25 years, 24 years. In 2000, what is this? This is 2002. 22 years.
This is 2022.
22 and a half years. Yeah, I get. Hey, when you work at home, I forget what day of the week it is. Not mentioned. Not even. I mean, I have to look at the calendar to see what for year it is. In 2002, I was written up in Muzzle Blast magazine and the Gunmakers Fair Blue Ribbon winner. And that was featured on the cover of of 2000. I won in 1999, and then the following year, right before the Gunmakers Fair, it got on the cover of Muzzle Blast, and I went from a 10-gun backlog to 40 in 2 weeks. I just got bummed. That was when I just got my first computer. I didn't even know how to send an email. I was handwriting letters back. I just got over. I had to quit working away.
Yeah.
And try. I said I can always go back to work if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Work out, you know. And,
yeah.
And well, I've been very blessed and very fortunate that I didn't have to.
Awesome.
This is where it all happens. This was a summer kitchen. It had a little sidewinder staircase going up there, doors everywhere. I took all the doors out. There was a wall halfway across here I took out and moved that way and turned it into a shop. It needs to be remodeled and painted again. Hasn't been painted in 22 years. It needs paint. This is where we play bluegrass.
Awesome.
Saturday night we had a jam here. And
I bet it sounds good in a small room.
Yeah, oh, it just barks. Yeah, we get a lot of. So, and I always tell people, since this is my shop, this is where I work. There's the kitchen. I always tell people I have to drive so far to work every day.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. And you are at 100 gun backlog right now.
50.
Oh, 50.
40. I have to look again. I just got an order on Saturday. My nephew and his son came up, and his son ordered a gun. They want Uncle Al's rifles, and we went together New Year's Day together. All these long rifles are all built by me. It's a lot of fun. I don't know. I was at 50, and I started pushing work away and not taking orders because it was getting to the point. There's a couple of new gun makers, and you're going to be in one of them pretty soon. You're going to get some work coming your way if you want it. If you don't, I get it. But there's a guy in Ohio by the name of Craig Osborne. Builds a very nice gun, didn't have a backlog. I said, well, you're about to get busy. So I sent him some work his way over the winter month here. Pretty interesting, though.
Yeah, that's selfless of you to push work to other guys. That's good.
Well, it was a day when work got pushed my way.
Yeah.
When I was up and coming, you know, and wanted to be a king gun maker. Wanted to be you know, when you do it full time, you need work. And now I have so much work, it's like, it's not overwhelming, so you just go with the flow and let it, you know, do whatever happens, you know. And when I tell people I have a 3-year backlog, I said, if it's done before that, well, you win. If not, don't say I didn't tell you so.
Right.
I build about 15 guns a year, depending on how fancy or how plain, maybe 18 or 20 more plain guns. But if you get into a lot of carving and patch boxes, that slows me down immensely. This time of year it gets really overwhelming because the Gunmakers Fair in Kempton's coming up at the end of July, which is 6 weeks from now. This is going to be delivered there.
Oh, wow.
I'm just starting it. It's going to be a Lehigh rifle for a guy in New York State. We're going to have a sliding wood patch box. Maybe carving. We're not sure yet.
Look at that piece of wood.
Pretty nice early maple. I actually bought this tree from a guy in Cowan outside of Lewisburg a couple years ago, and it makes a really nice gun. Just finished a gun for my nephew's son, another nephew.
Is that the Myron Martin gun you sent me?
Oh. Those are sitting right over here.
Oh, okay.
Just built. Oh, the finish is actually dry. Good. This is one I built for Tim Gaiman And their boss has bought them both because they've been there for 15 years. Just a plain piece of maple.
Plain.
But anyway.
It's wide curls. It's soft
that?
maple.
You see that? I broke through. James Miller. You know James, banjo picker James?
Yeah.
He just got his barrel and letting machine set up and everything. And this is the first two I did from him. And they're both a little thin. I like a 3/16 to 7/32 web at the muzzle. And 1/8 of an inch or so at the breech.
So you don't want it?
Barrel. So in the middle, theoretically, it's thicker. These, I said, Jamie, let's check your machine, your setup bar. There's got to be a little bit of a curve in it that you're not seeing, which you can't. In a 5-foot bar, you're not going to see a 32nd of an inch curve. You have to run it on a Dow indicator on a machine in a machine shop and see what's going on. So he's aware of it now. Yeah. So sometime this year, there's going to be an article in Muzzleloader magazine. Josh Shepard is the guy writing it, and he sent me a questionnaire. Okay. And of what he wants, and so I gave him my life history from the time before I was a teenager, in the interest of the guns. Yeah. How I got into gun making. The first attempt was a complete scrap. I ruined it, and I was 13 years old.
Yeah, but you were 13.
Yeah, I know.
13-year-olds.
Mamas are always right, you know. And what is today? The 18th?
June 20th.
My mom's birthday would have been in 2 days from now.
Oh, yeah?
She'd be like 97 or something like that. She just died about 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so when you come from a big family, I'm the youngest of 12. So, you know, it's
You're the youngest. You're the baby. So am I. See, we have more in common. Yeah, we like flintlocks. Yeah. We're both the baby boy. And we both like bluegrass. Yeah. And we both have mushki in our blood. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. How old are you?
I'll be 53 next month, so I'm 52. Okay. In the backside of 52 right
Okay.
Now. I was born in the summer of 69. I was 1 day old when Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon. So.
Really? Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So a little history. Whether that's all true or not, we won't go there today.
Yeah. Right.
But
well, I don't think it's true because they don't get cell service some places still, and that was how long ago.
Like my brother always said, why aren't they going back?
Yeah.
But anyway, I was born in 69 in New Holland on the home farm.
You were part of the Mennonite church, but
my mom and dad were horse and buggy Mennonite.
Horse and buggy Mennonite.
Yeah. I was never a member of that church. When I was 17 years old, I moved from New Holland up to here. Actually, I ended up right across the road here in a trailer. I was renting, I was working, partying. You know, I got away from any kind of craft work or but never lost interest. It was always there. When I was 21, I moved back home, and in the old chicken coop, I started building guns. Went over to Paul Allison. He was my mentor. And
was he a pretty big name? I never heard of him. Was he a big name back then?
Paul Allison is a local gun maker in Gap, Pennsylvania, and he goes to the gun makers fair for years. Very influential type of builder in that area, but he never went mainstream or never went to the COA show, or he'd been there but not set up or not year after year, and didn't want any write-ups about him because he wanted to stay small and local and under the radar, so to speak. And he always had gun orders. Paul was a very good teacher as in learning how to build a gun from the inside out. He would yell at me. I remember leaving there with tears in my eyes. I was upset.
Really?
But, you know, it's learning.
Because he wasn't a good teacher. He humiliate you or what?
Paul is a humiliating type of guy.
Yeah.
But he means it in a good way. When he sees talent or potential, he's going to... And all that teaching has turned around. Like he says now, I'll never build a gun as good as yours, he says.
Is that what he says?
So that's a compliment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Paul, like most gun makers, know their limitations or what they want to do or achieve. Like Dave Dawes, he used to live in Selinsgrove. His gun making was sort of subtle, well built, as good of a gun as anybody. Perfectly heat treated, good metal, wood fits. But the decoration was limited because he said, I know my limitations and I don't want to screw it up.
Yeah. A guy told me at Union County, I forget his name. I don't know who it was. Doesn't matter. But it's stuck with me. And the reason I even carved this fourth gun I did is not because I think that I can carve. It's because a guy said guys get so far ahead with their gun building and they never carve, and then their carving doesn't match their gun building skills.
Well, that was with me in the engraving. I could carve, not very good at the time, but I could carve. And the engraving I learned later, so my engraving had to catch up.
Right.
And to this day, I'd rather carve than engrave.
Okay.
But you need to do it all.
Yeah.
You know, there are your limitations. As a gun maker, and you start, like this coming weekend is the KRA show in Pittsburgh. And I'm probably not going to go this year because I'm so busy and...
Fuel.
It has a little bit to do. And I took 2 vacations already this year, which is unheard of. So I'm like sucking hind tit. I'm trying to catch up. So with the Gunmakers Fair and the COA show coming, I have 4 or 5 guns I want to build by the middle of August. By the time the COA show, I like to deliver. And when I go to a show, I like to deliver because it makes you feel like you're getting paid. It makes you feel like you're doing something constructive. I hate shipping guns, so why ship them if you can deliver them to a show? Yeah. So I try to synchronize a lot of my gun builds around shows to deliver. Yeah. And the Gunmakers Fair, this one's going to get delivered there. I got at least 2 or 3 to deliver to the COA show, and maybe a pistol. This has been hanging around here for about 8 or 9 years already. So, and the guy I'm building it for is a super nice guy from Toledo, Ohio. He's a gun collector. He owns a lot of fine originals, and this is a piece of the slippery rock tree that he gave to me at the COA show.
Why do you say slippery rock tree?
Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania.
Right. That's where the tree came from.
That's where the trees, there's where some of this wood comes from. Here's a piece of wood from the slippery rock tree.
Oh my goodness.
Very interesting piece of wood.
You just have that here just to look at?
No.
Because you clearly it's been around.
Honestly, it was given to me.
Oh, really?
As a gift. With the terms of I can build whatever I want to, but I can never sell the gun until I retire. So I had it now for a fair number of years, probably 10 years now, or whatever it's been. I don't know how long I had it, but it's like I'm not sure what I want to build. I'm sort of stuck.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, we got your background done. So what got you into muzzleloading? Was it the gun building, or was it history? What grabbed your fascination? A lot of people always tell me it's the Davy Crockett film. Boone and Crockett.
A lot of people watch the Daniel Boone show. Of course, I didn't have TV growing up, so that was foreign to me.
Sure.
Other than sneaking off to the neighbors and watching Dukes of Hazzard on a Friday night. Remember that show? But anyway, going to grade school, I loved to read. I loved history. The tricorn hat, the coonskin hat, and I read novels like Dan Frontier, the books, you know. I was just enamored by the fringe buckskin, which I don't even do any reenacting, so that don't have an impact. But in relation to that, I always liked building stuff. In grade school, I had a shop class. I would build furniture. We had a little woodworking shop in the old chicken coop down home, and I would build furniture. When I was, I'm not sure exactly how old I was. I might have been 9 or 12 years old. My older brother came home with a kit, a pre-shaped stock, a Green Mountain barrel and cider lock, and he put the gun together, and I would be like, then that was my first. There's a couple other friends that had some flintlocks, but there wasn't that much going on. A friend of mine gave me a Dixie Gunwork catalog, and that just took me into all the parts and all the old black and white photos in the old Dixie Gunwork catalog. They probably still look the same, I don't know. But anyway, and I started building guns. I built 9 guns, then I got married in the fall of '93 and moved up here to Union County, and I lived up on the edge of the mountain, got to know Fred Miller, and the Getz, Donnie and John Getz over at the barrel shop. Dick Getz was still alive at the time as well.
Is that Don's dad?
Don's brother.
Brother? Okay.
Brother.
Okay.
Dick and Don started Getz Barrel Company in 1977. They bought out Bob Paris.
And John Getz always calls me Brian Kaufman, the man from Thompsontown, because that's where I live, and I guess that's where his dad.
That's where Donnie Getz lived.
That's where he had lived.
He lived in that stone house. I can't remember exactly how to tell you to get there, but I can show you where it's at.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's neat.
Anyway, so my wife and I got married. We lived up here on the edge of the mountain. There was a little wood structure out back that I converted into a little shop, and I built quite a few guns here. This house came up for sale. Her brother owned it, so I bought it and moved in here, and not expecting I was going to live in town and build guns here in Swangle all these years, but here I am,
yeah.
And now the roots have dug in.
Yeah.
The bluegrass, the friends, the family, the grandkids. I have 3 grandchildren now,
yeah.
you know, so it's like, there's never a dull moment. There's always somebody here.
Yeah.
It just seems like there's always a flow of people. So when there's an evening where I can sit down, I'm not going fly fishing, or there's nobody here, and I can actually sit down and watch a baseball game in the evening, it's like, I don't mind being alone for a few hours.
Yeah.
But I don't mind, but I love the interaction of having people here.
Yeah.
So I reconverted this summer kitchen up right away, and gutted it and redid the floor, redid everything, and put a workbench in, and set up my vise, and this is where it all happened. We'll go out to the barn in a little bit. I'll show you my woodworking shop where I have my heavy machinery, and it's a mess out there right now because I was cutting out gun stocks. There's probably 100 gun stocks sitting out there leaning against the wall, maybe 70, I don't know. It's always and I'll put some on them, American long rifle, and I'll sell them there. Stuff, because I can't build all these guns, but we're living in a hardwood mecca.
Sure.
You know, all the different suppliers. I just looked at 5 logs on Saturday morning that I am buying from a landscaping guy that took them over to a sawmill, and I checked. I told the saw guy I want them cut. So in a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
12 quarter, 11.
11, 12 quarter. I said anywhere from 10 to 12 quarters, fine. And just slab them off. These things are probably 3 foot across and curly. Some of them look pretty curly, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't usually buy logs, but like people like Aldifer and people like Steve Weaver, he already has them cut, and then I can go look at the planks.
Sure. Yeah.
And
yeah, I housed some Alan Martin planks around for a while. I was the old boy on the green chain.
I know you did. So let me talk about the vise. It's just a vise. This vise. I was working at the New Holland Meat Market, and every Friday we'd go to the Green Dragon Farmers Market, and at my lunch break I'd go stomping around, checking out girls that work there, and I come past this Amish tool dealer, and I bought this vise for $42. It's made in the Middle East, I'm sure, or the Far East, and this $42, it has a pivoting head. It weighs probably 70 pounds. It's a beast. But I have made a lot of money on this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And actually, I have another one. I just found another one online on eBay. Matter of fact, in California, it's the same vise. I'm thinking about buying it just to get a new, tighter vise. But it's starting to get a little bit. I took it apart several times. And I have bought another vise one time, but I just didn't like it. I put my one back in.
That's what you're used to.
It sort of like has a personality. I know what it does and what it should do.
Yeah, and your vise is right up there where you need it to be.
High workbench. And if you step in here, you can see this is my 3rd shop that I built, and I like my high workbench where I can work without getting, like Frank House always goes, you get in the gun maker's hump, being hunched over, and that going to the chiropractor has been a blessing to get straightened back out, because when you build guns full time, things get tingly and the neck gets hurt. But I have my lower workbench where this is where I do my carving, and I sit down on my stool. I carve here with my lighting. I can get cross lighting or whatever. I have all my files right there, but they're out of the way. My chisels, and I've been wanting to put shelving in here, like tool holders or whatever. Well, when you're a full-time gun maker, you don't have time to do it all.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'll notice right away is you told me you don't use sandpaper, and you weren't lying. Look at this.
Well,
there ain't dust on nothing.
Well,
I mean, you keep a clean
I just ran
place.
a vacuum cleaner a day or 2 ago, but
still,
I don't sand.
No.
And let me take that back. I do sand. I sand with 100 grit sandpaper for rough shaping. When I'm final shaping, not rough shaping, but final shaping, before I go to scrapers, sometimes I'll use sandpaper to make things flow. Metal, of course, gets polished with different grits of paper.
Yeah.
I have a lot of sandpaper.
Yeah, but
You know.
But still, you can tell that it's not like you're using sandpaper.
Oh, that's my wife. She was there. It's dusty. That's the only downside of having my workshop built into the into the house. You know, it's when it's raining. Some days when in the wintertime when the snow's coming sideways, I back my ass over to the radiator and I go, man, it's a good day to stay home. Mm-hmm. You know, springtime. This time of year is the worst time of year to be a gun maker because I want to go outside.
What about with hunting? Like, you had the interest in the history, so that's why you wanted to build guns. But for myself, like it was a hunting thing. But you're a hunter, so you like shooting deer with a flintlock.
Hunting with the muzzleloaders, especially now, is something that I always like to do. The first day I hunted flintlock, I was building my first gun. I borrowed my cousin's Thompson Center, and we came up from Lancaster County with the 4 brothers and I. Up on the mountain over here, I missed a big rack buck at 35 yards broadside. Give me that shot back today. it would be different. He was a lucky deer. I remember flinching like I had a weird problem. But anyway, hunting was always a big thing. For me, I always liked building stuff. I'm a hands-on. I don't read instructions well. I'd rather almost make a mistake learning how to do it hands-on. So yeah, that's pretty much where it's at. And then going to the Gunmakers Fair, my first time there, I got married in '93. I think it was like 1991, maybe '92. I went to the Gunmakers Fair for the first time. I heard about it, but I just never got there. It was Sunday afternoon. My friend and I went over there, and it just opened up. I got to know some people, and I started entering guns, and the competition of being a gun maker was pretty strong. When I moved up here and got married, I joined the Union County Muzzleloaders Club, and they are a shooting club, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I am not a competitive shooter. If I was if there'd be a shoot this coming weekend, and you would be there, and Rick Browse and all the other boys, Sam and everybody else, I wouldn't even turn my target in, because I don't care about competing for prizes or whatever they shoot for. And I'm not a competitor. When you build guns 6 days a week, people say, come on out on a Sunday, or, bring your gun, enjoy your gun. I just work with my guns 6 days. I don't know. I might want to take a break from it, Mm-hmm. So then
But you do pick them up in the late season.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean, you said...
No, let me go back. I do shoot. These 2 guns, they got in the finish right now. I just cleaned the metal up this morning, and they're ready to final assemble. The stocks need another 1 or 2 coats of finish, and by today's Monday, by Tuesday, Wednesday, they should be done. Thursday, I'll take them to the range, and I will set up sandbags. I want to see what the gun can do. I know what I can do, but I want to see what I want to sight them in, make sure they're functioning properly, make sure the trigger pulls are nice and crisp, make sure that at 40, 50 yards they're ripping a ragged hole right around the bullseye area, and then I can make adjustments, bend the barrel, whatever, and then they're ready to go. Because I don't want the gun coming back. Every time I send a gun out that I don't shoot, always comes back to bite me because of the it's shooting 6 inches low or something, so I have to make adjustments. And so I do shoot that way. And when flintlock season rolls around, I take Thor.
Get Thor down.
I get Thor down.